And hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Genuine Men's Chat weekly Zoom Live. We're super excited to welcome a special guest today that I'm going to introduce you to. But in case if you haven't heard about our program, it's called the Genuine Men's Program. And it's a movement consistent of a show, a podcast, workshops, and Zoom Lives that express the often unheard honest views of men from various backgrounds and cultures, religions, life experiences, and the like. It's also a rare opportunity for men to have a platform to express their views, their thoughts, their perspectives, their obstacles in life with other men on topics that impact them, their families, their communities, and society as a whole. It's an unfiltered and unadulterated look at what life is like, but from a man's perspective. Hi, I'm Reham. I'm the host and Genuine Men's coach. And I'd like to welcome this amazing fellow coach of mine and our guest speaker today, talking about genuine relationships. Welcome back, Louise.
Thank you.
Glad to have you back.
Thank you.
We always have a good time when we have you here talking about relationships. So let's see what we can stir up today. Let me properly introduce you. So Louise MacFarlane is a women's lifestyle and relationship coach. She has impacted the lives of her clients around the world for over 10 years. Her insight, experiences, encouragement, patience, and support of women to align their vision with clarity, courage, and connection ensures that they can be, do, and give more to make a difference in the world. What an amazing woman you are. So welcome back.
Thank you.
And I'm super excited because we have so much prepared for today, so much in store. One big announcement is throughout lockdown, we came to you live every week. And starting this coming month in September, we're going to be meeting only once a month on the third Thursday of every month. So we're really excited and looking forward to having one guest speaker every month and really focusing our energy on the topic and the material that we're going to cover that is pertinent to each and every one of our viewers and participants. The second big announcement that I want to make is we have more upcoming Genuine Men's Chat show episodes for season 1 coming up every first Friday of every month. And we've covered so much ground. We have a couple more left this season, so look out for those. And the third announcement, and Louise, this is one of my favorite announcements right now to share, is joint effort work with you. Both of us have been working meticulously over the past several months to bring you 3 parts of this really amazing relationship program for both men and women. And so we're about to announce the pre-launch of one of them. We'll tell you more about it at the end of the show. So stay on. Any words that you want to talk about, Louise?
I totally agree. We've been talking about this for months, and we've both been busy, both in our professional and personal lives during lockdown. But we've still managed to kind of make sure that we've made time to focus on this, and it's really coming together. And like you, I am super excited about the stages that we're going to take each and every one of you through. Because it's both Reham and I are extremely passionate about relationships. Reham supports men, and so she'll bring all her wealth of knowledge and experience, to support men, give examples, and just so that you can really kind of go, yeah, that's me. I want to know more. And with my experience, I work with women across the globe, so that it also involves all the cultural issues as well. It's not just here's a relationship and this is how it is, but it really kind of, it's if you can learn a few simple things. I just want to say this, and please, add to it, Rihanna, is it only takes one of us to change the relationship. So, where if you feel that you want to do something for your relationship right now, then stay tuned and, you know, come aboard and learn from what we have to offer.
Beautifully spoken and said, Louise. Absolutely. It's all in the power of one. Even though relationships are often two or more, each and every one of us has an impact, a ripple effect in our relationships. And if we're able to really invest in who it is that we are and what we bring to the table in our relationships, we can also create those ripple effects that will be mirrored in our relationship. And you know what, for, you know, not just to be on the positive side, but also on the other side, on the flip side of situations where relationships aren't really going so well. Many of our listeners or their partners or family members have been in relationships and they've struggled and they've done the work and it hasn't worked. There's still hope if you want to go there, if you want to reinvest. And if there isn't, then room for reinvestment, there's room for reinvestment within you, about you, you know, your own learning from that relationship and what you could take into another relationship thereafter. So there's always room for learning and movement and shifting and transformation, because it all comes from within. Whenever we work from the inside out, we're able to create those ripples, that impact and that change in ourselves. And if others want to come along for the ride, amazing. If not, then we're moving on.
And I just want to reiterate about that. You know, we're talking about couples and in relationships, but it's actually, if it only takes one person, if you're, you know, you're looking to be in a relationship, or you're not feeling you're doing so well, you know, while you're dating at the moment, whether it be online or, you know, you're just beginning to go and be able to meet people face to face. Just, it's for everybody who wants to transform their relationships so that it, you know, they feel loved and supported and looked after and protected, or whatever you need from that relationship. So
exactly. And I need to remind myself first and everyone thereafter, remember, social distancing is still applicable at this time. So be safe, be healthy, and be inquisitive about your relationships. So with that said, let's dip in a little bit further into what we're going to be talking about today. What are genuine relationships all about, Louise, from your perspective in relation to women? And I'll jump in with in relation to men and their connectivity to women and other relationships that they may have in their lives. How are you defining genuine relationships?
I mean, it's a journey. It's not something that's going to change overnight. There's always, I'm just a firm believer that you can always grow. So it's not only, you know, I found the problem of my last relationship, so let's change that, or I've discovered what's going on with my current relationship, let's change that, and everything is you know, hunky-dory or amazing. We're always growing. You know, we've got one of probably the biggest challenges in our generation at the moment, but we've also got our stages in life to go through, wherever you are, depending on what age you are or whatever decisions you're making. So it's really about, it's a journey. And the first step that I've always discovered is we've got to become aware of why aren't things going so well. Yeah. And we have a tendency to, sometimes when things aren't going so well, we tend to go, it's their fault. Yeah, they're the problem. They don't listen to me. They're being selfish there. And I could come up with a whole list of things, but I just really want to keep it very simple tonight. So it's about finding that part. And once you've found out what that, you can then from there start to really say, well, what is important in my relationship? You know, what do I value most about me in the relationship, about my partner in the relationship, about our environment and what we want to create? So that's the kind of the next step that you start to look, because that's the kind of, as it's described to me recently, it's the foundations. You know, it's the things that hold fast. And if you find somebody aligned with, you know, both of you have the same important requirements in a relationship, then you're going to have a stronger relationship. So these need to be explored, or as an individual, so you know what they are, but as a couple, so that you're actually going along the same path. Once we've got these foundations and things, it's all these awareness issues start to come to light. So we need to start to transform those. So it's all what we call our beliefs, our learnings, the meanings we've given various situations, and we need to start patching all of those up and changing them so we can go forward. Because once we start to look at the relationships, and it doesn't have to be much, it just needs to be slightly different, it can make a massive difference. And it means that, again, the foundations are stronger. If a storm comes, you're going to hold fast, and you're less likely to rock. I'm not going to say any relationship is going to be perfect for the rest of its life, but you'll know how to deal with these storms that come.
So it's basically about the skill sets, the tools,
absolutely,
methodologies of communication and connectivity. It's all about the values and the beliefs that really ground the foundational work in a relationship. So we're going to be exploring that with each of you as well, and seeing what you value and what you don't, so that you're also clear. So when you're in a relationship and something happens, you're clear about your boundaries, you're clear about your assertiveness or your proactiveness, you're clear about your yeses and your nos, so that you're living genuinely, authentically in these genuine relationships.
Absolutely. And once you've got that part, the next step that I feel really, and we've talked about this a lot, that will just really tighten it all, is the starting to be able to communicate between the two. And we've all heard of the film What Women Want, with Mel Gibson, and he suddenly starts to hear, what does she need? What does she want? I don't get her, because there's two parts to it. One of it is that we think we know what the other person needs from conversations that we've had at the beginning of the relationships. And you've said, I like this, I like that, I don't like that, I don't like this. But as we evolve as humans and as a partner or within a partnership, things can change. Our needs can change. We might get more responsibility at work, so it means less sleep. So it means we need to adjust things, the weekend to catch up and sleep, etc. It's a really simple example, but I have to say that one of the challenges women are having at this moment of time is tiredness, exhaustion, burnout. So we're going to really dig deep into your needs, and I'm going to talk more about that area specifically tonight, so that you get a better understanding of why maybe there's been some misalignments in your relationships at the moment. It's been stressful for all of us. There's a lot of uncertainty going around, but it's also a great time to stop and grow and come together even stronger. And then the last part of that is, it's my favorite part, is the how do we communicate? And I was thinking a lot about this today, and it really is that there's a difference, and we need to learn to appreciate the differences of, and it's not gender based, it's actually how we work, how our brains work, and we have two parts to every human, and that's the masculine energy and the feminine energy, and it's how we show up as to how we communicate. And we're going to go into a lot of detail in that, because in my experience, as soon as I start to explain this, so many of my clients have gone, oh, that makes so much sense. I totally get what I'm doing wrong, or why we haven't been able to communicate, because the key, the secret to this is, if you want to have a supportive, loving moment, if you're both in masculine, you're going to repel one another. So it's one of you needs to be in masculine energy and the other one needs to be in feminine energy, just like the battery, the negative and positive ends of the battery, and then that will attract you. And so often we show up in our relationship because this is the way life is at the moment. We turn up in masculine or we turn up in feminine. There needs to be that balance. So we're going to talk about that. And that's through communication. And it also impacts our intimacy as well in a relationship. So that's kind of really the journey, excuse me, that we want to take you on. If there's anything you want to add at this time, Reham, about that.
There was, and covered it, which I'm really excited about. So it's a wonderful project of love between Louise and I to create this opportunity for each and every one of our participants and our engaged viewers to shed some light on what's not working and how can you make it work in a way that's true for you, and what is working and how can you build it up so that you're reviving the connectivity, you're reviving the trust, you're building that trust more and more, and the respect and the honor and all of the values and the beliefs and the needs in the relationship, so that we create that balance within it, just like Louise, you were saying, from a masculine and a feminine energy. And when we create that, and when we're articulating it, when we're actually communicating it with our partners, we almost develop a language of our own. So you can be out and about, and you can experience something, and you could have shorthand for it, and only you two know it. And that's a special bonding moment. It's almost a moment that you can kind of smile or chuckle or wink about, and you both are in this special opportunity to grow together, to bond together, and no one else understands what you're doing. And that just intensifies the connection between two people. And that's what we're hoping to get each and every one of you to the point where you're both understanding and communicating in a way that you both understand, respect, and honor, and it fills you. And when you're in that space, it's just miraculous. So
it is, and it's possible. It really is. It's so possible, and it's I call it living and loving consciously, because you've made the effort to make it happen. Relationships don't come from just being together, and it's amazing. They have to be worked at because of the challenges that the world brings to us, but also, as I said earlier, the life stages that we go through. So moving in together, it's a life stage. It's huge. Getting married, it's huge. First child, huge. Second child, huge. Moving house, changing jobs, they're all huge experience, and therefore we have to pop back in there and go, what's changed? How are you feeling about this? What do you think? So it's ever evolving. And when you get to that, and I love how you beautifully describe it's that secret language, and everybody goes, how do you do that? I want that. So you will become role models for people. So start to be aware of what you're doing, and how you're doing it, and what you're doing, and why you're doing it, and and how often you're doing it, so that you can share with friends, but more importantly, for me, certainly your children, if you plan to have any, because that then gives them a huge step forward when they start their relationship journey. Should I say that? The parents always panic about children having relationships. It's going to happen. So,
you couldn't have been more on point, because children mimic the relationship that their parents have in their adult lives. And so the goal is to get each and every one of us healthy in our connection and our communication and our expression and receiving of love in various ways, so that our children can also see that they can see a healthy form of expression, a healthy form of communication, a healthy form of receiving love and giving love. And that gives groundedness to children, a sense of stability, so that they're not always looking for other people to fill themselves and the emptiness that they may be finding lies within them. They then feel empowered to do it themselves. So you're not getting into a relationship to fill a void. You're getting into a relationship to increase and enrich yourself and the partnership. And that's what's so vital. And maybe, Louise, I'm just thinking out loud here, we might put in a bonus on that topic.
But just to finish there, because I don't want to, you know, overrun, because I want to really dig deep into what we're going to talk about, our needs. But just to finish that, and that can happen. What we've just described can happen because you made the decision to make a transformation in your relationship now. So have a think about it. We'll be telling you, as Rehan said at the beginning, we'll tell you much more about what we've got planned and how you can get involved at the end. So shall I just dive into that topic of the
needs? Yes. Talk about needs. What are needs and why are they so important?
I think needs are, they're not obvious sometimes. We think they're obvious, but they're not always obvious. It's the kind of question like, how are you? I'm fine. And that's it. Or, you know, your and goes out running, and you are sitting there going, hang on a minute, there's children to feed, there's, you know, stuff to unpack, there's all sorts of other things that need to be done, and he goes off and does what he wants for 20 minutes, half an hour. That is not understanding each other's needs. You know, it may be essential for him to do that, but if you don't understand why he needs to do that, then it really can cause a disruption in the relationship. And another one is if, for example, somebody is tired. I'm just going to give a few kind of possible ones that to see the reason why a relationship can become distant or not be quite right at this time. Another one is, can I get you anything? No, I'm fine. You know, that cut off conversation when actually this person has maybe taken a lot of effort to go, can I get you anything? They're tired, it's late at night, and they just see you needing some help maybe, and they've offered it, and you say, no. This is not really understanding what your needs are. On the other hand, knowing each other's needs is that secret communication, is that being able to suggest some ideas to help them, because in this day and age, we're not really very good asking for help. And sometimes it's even harder for us to receive help. So understanding each other's needs and actually being able to discuss them allows that secret communication between the two of you, that I just sometimes love when you see couples, and it doesn't have to be very much. It can be, it's raining, and you know, he gets out the car and he goes to the, what do you call it? We call it the boot. I don't know what you call it. The trunk.
Yeah, the trunk in the States.
In case you're in North America. And he gets the umbrella and he puts it up and he goes round, and she says, oh, thank you. Yeah. A typical one thing I think is just, it just reminds me so much. My mother raised us to be polite, open doors for people, you know, let the elderly go first, you know, etc. There's just so many qualities that she taught us, and one of them for her was the gentleman opened the door. And so she came and visited me while I was living abroad, and a friend of mine took us out for dinner, and Mum was in the front seat of the car and I was in the back, and he got out and he said, just wait there. And so as he ran round the back of the car, my mother mumbled, bless her, did not think I can open the door myself. And I just went, oh my goodness, Mum, you taught us to find somebody like this. This is what you wanted for us all, and now you're criticizing him for doing it. Yes, it was 20, 30 years later, but at that time, that's where, one, her needs had changed. I can do it myself. I don't need the door open. But two, where sometimes the message can get really, really mixed, you know, because if somebody does something for you, it's just showing up and being grateful for them for just doing that little thing. So I hope that kind of explains that having needs and some of the ideas, if it doesn't work, it means that the relationship can fall apart. Now, on the flip side is when you know your needs, and when you meet your needs, so you do them regularly to make sure you become, it's that point where you're okay. You know, you're healthy, you're fine, you've got enough energy to last you the day, you know, and so that it's you manage your time, so you've got enough sleep, and we look at the basic needs first of all. So you've got enough sleep, you've eaten well, you're hydrated, I talk about movement rather than exercise because it can be misconstrued, but you know, you've done some movement, which is so important for the body. And also another one I do add into is essential is breathing, and especially at this time when we're all feeling slightly anxious, if we can take time just to consciously breathe. So they are, for me, our basic needs. They are very highly recommended that you do them every day, but we sometimes lack sleep. We sometimes forget to eat regularly, so we snack. We sometimes don't drink enough water. We sometimes forget to move. And therefore that energy, that minimum reserve of energy gets depleted. And that's when it becomes, you're not okay. And that's where your mood changes, you get cranky, you fall ill, you snap at the kids, you snap at your partner, you know, you want to have a snooze in the afternoon at work, you know, it doesn't go so well, to be honest. So so that's that. And then another, if you want to top that up slightly, we're all unique. So I'm just going to put that out there. We're all unique, we're all different. And even with those basic needs, the makeup of those can be different for each and every one of us. But on top of that, there's the other essential things that you might need to have more energy so you can be generous with it, so you can cope with the train being cancelled, or the delivery being late, or waiting 20 minutes on the telephone, or having a child having a tantrum. Having that extra reserve of energy gives you the ability to manage it and cope with it better. So, for example, that can be things like, for me, getting outside in nature. You know, going for at least twice a month, just going to a place where there's no cars, there's no people, there's no whatever. That's one thing for me. Another thing is a massage. Yeah, a massage can be seen as a luxury, but for some people it's actually essential because they may have some chronic pain, and therefore the massage supports them to be able to live with less pain. So it's really discovering what it is that you need, and I'll kind of clear it up, but I want you to join in this conversation, Reham. Is there anything you want to add at this point about it before I kind of summarize it?
Yeah, so you know, bringing it in context for the men that are our viewers and our participants, you know, is this resonating with you? You know, put in the chat box, yes, it is, or no, it isn't. And no, give us your comments, you know, ask us your questions. I know there was one question that I had gotten about, well, what happens if I know my basic needs and I know my essential needs, but I'm not comfortable expressing them in such a way that my partner understands them? Or, and the flip side was, I'm able to communicate them, but my partner isn't able to receive them.
Perfect. And I want to come to that a little bit later. So there's 3 steps that when you want to think about your needs, and one of them is discovering what they are. I've touched on that quite a bit. Discover what your needs are, what your basic needs, and what are your essential needs to give you that little bit of extra energy, to cope with life, basically, so you don't get completely depleted, and therefore you fall ill or you get cranky. The next part is to get really clear about what they are. Yeah, so it's I need sleep. Okay. How much sleep do you need? Yeah. Okay. So it's really asking questions like, how much do you need every night? How many nights a week do you need that amount of sleep? So we know sometimes you may sleep 6-7 hours during the week. Some of you maybe less, some of you maybe more, but at weekends, oh, I'd love a lie-in. Yeah. So get really clear about that. So this is how many nights, how many hours I want. This is how often I need to have that amount of sleep. And then it gets even clearer. When do you go to bed? When do you turn the light out? When do you stop looking at your screens? When do you have your snack or your last cup of tea or water, so you're not up through the night? You need to get really, really clear about it, especially if you're about to share it with your partner, because then they know exactly what you need. If I just, said, yeah, I need 5 hours sleep, the person needs to then ask, well, when are you getting up in the morning so I can support you to get to bed, So it sounds ridiculous, but it's not. And with the answer to that question, you'll get clearer as to why. So go through each need. What is the need? Clearly define it. So, for example, I used to drink a lot of coffee. I love the smell of coffee. It just is addictive. So I used to drink it, and it used to be what picked me up throughout the day. I then made a decision. I only wanted 1 cup of coffee a day. So my need is 1 cup of coffee a day before 10 o'clock or before 11 o'clock, and that's it. So if my partner knows that need, he's not going to offer me a cup of coffee in the afternoon. If I need a pick me up, he'll go, what would you like to drink? How about this or how about that? He's not going to say, hey, do you want a coffee? And I'll go, I never drink coffee after 11 o'clock. Why are you thinking of offering me that? Yeah. So it really starts to get them clear, to give them the support to help you. I think that's really the second part of it. So go through each need. Then what I tend to suggest to people is you can either, depending how you work, I need visions. So I do mind maps and things like that. And you can be creative, use different colors, or you can just create a list, etc. And be creative and put it down on paper. This is before you even start to share it. Put it down on paper, because it means then you can put it somewhere visible. Yeah. I do also highly recommend that if you have children, do it with them. It's great fun with them if they know what they need. I need to go to football every week, or I need to go to ride my bike every week. Then you start to build that in, and you'll see your child become happier and happier and happier. Yeah, I need to go and see my grandparents once a week, and you're like, okay, let's get that in, or let's get your grandparents to come over. So you're able to plan things, and you just see that child thrive. So if you do have children, get them involved as well. Yeah.
It also creates a wonderful distinction between wants and needs. And it allows us to recognize these are the needs that I need to survive with. And without them, they deplete me. Without them, they hinder me. Without them, they make me feel deficient, throughout the day. But wants are extra. They're something that would be wonderful to have, but are not necessary, going back to the distinction that you had made earlier. So when we do that with ourselves, we're clearer on what our wants and needs are, what are negotiables and what are non. And then when we do it with children, it really clarifies their language so that they're now aware of the impact of not only what a need is and how to ask for it, but a want and how to work towards it. And that's what's really exhilarating when you see it click for the kids. You see the light bulb go off and they're just like, okay, that's not a need. That's definitely a want. And I want to go see my grandmother, for example, once a week. But I know that I need to go to the park once a week. And then if I can't go to the park, makes me feel down. But if I don't see Nana or grandmother or, this week, at least I can video call her. And so it creates a distinction and it creates a fluidity in a child's mind and in our relationship between our partners and us when we're making those distinctions.
And I just want to add to that, because it's an absolutely brilliant point, is that if we don't meet our needs and go straight to our wants, we actually create bad habits. So if you're tired and you don't really, you don't think about, okay, what do I need to replenish my energy or get my energy back? Do I need water? Do I need food? Do I need sleep? Do I need to maybe go outside and take in 10 big deep breaths of fresh air, whatever that is, and you go for the bar of chocolate or the glass of wine or, something that is destructive when you haven't met your needs. Of course, when your needs are met and you go for that, you use the word want. For me, it's a desire. It's just like, I'm going to really enjoy this. Whereas if you're not meeting your needs and you go for chocolate or wine, you kind of go, oh, I needed that. But shortly after that, you're just exactly where you were before. So it's a really, really clear. So great for bringing that up so we can really define even further that a need is, it's making sure that you're okay before you jump into the desires. After a stressful week at work, certainly in the UK, we have the habit of going to the pub on a Friday afternoon. But if you're tired and you don't have, some water or don't eat food, you're not really going to feel very good the next day. So it's really about, or replace it with, going for, if you're not in the habit of eating, processed food and you go for fish and chips or something, that is not healthy to you, then you're not going to feel good after that because you're not meeting your needs first. Okay. Now, I'm not saying don't go out and enjoy yourself on a Friday afternoon. It's just become more aware that you've prepared yourself before you go and, sort of start something that you really didn't need. So that's really kind of the clarity on that.
I'm going to just take one more second just quickly to go one step deeper, because
Sure.
we don't distinguish between our wants and our needs. And as you said, our wants or desires can be overindulgent. And if we overindulge ourselves in them, and they can lead to bad habits, they can also lead to self-medication. They can lead to temptation that could lead to addictive behaviors. We don't have addictive personalities. We have addictive patterns. And so just recognizing those distinctions is essential, especially, given the last several months being in lockdown and the impact that it's had on so many people. That distinction has been so great. And so recognition around that is essential. And if you're interested, we do have a program around resolving and or coming to grips with your emotions at a later time.
Yeah. And I think that's absolutely, especially right now, probably one of them that's been mainly talked about is, well, one, certainly within the UK is, the amount of alcohol is becoming very, very a worrying statistic. But I think also screen time, so many of us are addicted to TV shows or watching films late into the night, and then they can't sleep. And that's because, research has shown that too much screen time prior to sleeping will interrupt your sleep patterns, which is, and I'm going to say this to all parents, don't let your child be in front of a screen before bed. Take them away from it. Give them an old-fashioned book or an audio book or something else. But really, it does interrupt their sleep patterns. And cranky child, cranky parent, not a good combination, I'm afraid. So, yeah, yeah. But it's addictive. You think, I can't sleep, I'll watch another program, because they're beautifully designed to get you addicted. So, please become aware of that and just start to make little changes, which is obviously, as Rehab's talking about, it's about breaking that pattern. And there's so many tools and support, a lot of support out there at the moment to help people do that. So yeah, be aware of that. So stepping into the last part, this is, how do I get my needs met? Very interestingly, when you've got this, what we call your list of needs, and you want to speak to your partner about it, I'm going to first of all say it is not the responsibility of your partner to make sure your needs are met. It is your responsibility, okay? However, allow your partner to become the person to support you to make sure your needs are met. It's very important not to have a huge list of needs either, otherwise you're probably spending a lot of time. So keep it to the basics at first, until you get into a pattern of meeting your needs, and then maybe you can add a few more. It's something that's fluid, it's something that changes, so don't be strict about it. Just say, I'm going to try this for a week to see if that makes me feel better, and then just change it if oh, that was too much sleep, or that's too little sleep, and just adapt. Basic 5, 6 to start off with, so that you can support one another. Okay. The other thing is, when you want to speak to your partner about it, be in a place where you know that this is important to you. Yeah, this is really something that if you don't do, you're not going to feel yourself. The relationship's going to suffer, and that's not what you're looking for. So just comes from that place of, this is what I need, and I want to be able to share these with you so that we can really fully support each other. So how does the conversation happen? It's really about I'm kind of doing it from the female perspective, so please, Reham, if there's anything that needs to flip the other way, then do share so. But the one thing that I really encourage the women that I work with is make an appointment. If you want to speak to your partner about these things, then make an appointment. It's not something that if he's in the middle of watching a football game, or reading the newspaper, or getting ready to go out and play football or run, or whatever it is that he's going out to do, interrupting him when he's doing that is you're not going to get his full attention. So make an appointment that when works for him or both of you, so you can sit down and have a conversation. Is there anything you want to add at this time, Reham?
I would say the same also applies to men. When they're wanting to speak to their partners, that's it's not the best time when it's mealtime, for example, or they're about to take the kids to school, or they're about to walk off to work. It's about being appropriate with the request of the timing, and asking for, when will be best for you in the next day or two, so that you're working from a space of empathy and sensitivity, versus a place of, look, this is really important. I need to talk about it now. And many men are sensitive and can be very empathetic. And what's important is to ensure that that also is translated into the words that you use, so that the message is received properly from your partner.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And don't do it on date night. It is about keeping it away separately from the time you want to spend together. Yeah, so just be aware. So make an appointment, or some couples that, and certainly I encourage it, is to have a once a week meeting. So, and that's where they discuss all the difficulties, the challenges, the things that need to be changed, the organizational part of their relationship. Take it to that, but let them know in advance that that's what you want to talk about at the meeting. So, just be fully upfront and honest about it.
It's really good that you mentioned that, Louise, because businesses are just like relationships, in the sense that in order for them to work, you have to have communication, you have to have a certain number of meetings. I'm not saying excessively, but there has to be a shared goal or goals and an outcome and vision. And if that isn't exchanged between the two parties, then there's a disconnect. So the mission and the vision of the organization, just like a relationship is an organization in itself, how to run the relationship, in a way, as a method of looking at it. Just like the tools that our viewers can use at work, can those same skills, and they're transferable in their home life, and but doing it in a way that's sensitive to their partner, not as a coworker or a subordinate.
Yes, absolutely, definitely. And I think, and once you're at that meeting, it's about um, starting with how you would feel, yeah, how you feel about this, that you've been feeling tired, or you feel that something has to change, or think or want, or see change coming, and then start to describe what you need. Okay. But the most important thing is, when you describe a need, it's not a list of I need this, and described as as we get really clear about it earlier. It's okay, this is the need. Can I talk you through it? But also, I want it to be shared in a way. It's like, what would it provide your partner? So it's really important for me to get 7 hours of sleep 5 days a week, and then I need at least 8.5 at the weekend. Okay. If I got that every week, oh my goodness, I would be feeling, I will be able to help you out with some of the gardening. I will be able to have more time to run errands. I'll be able to support you with some of the things going on around the house that I haven't felt the energy to do so if you've been feeling tired. So explain to them what it would provide for them. How would you change? How would you show up? How would you be? How would you, so they start to see the difference that this is going to make for them, or for you, for them, and for the relationship. Yeah. It's really important to share, especially, for men, what's in it for them, because they're very, you are a gentleman, and it's no criticism. You're very much solution focused. What will I get out of it? What's my win out of it? Because it's just an instinctive nature that you have. I'm not going to do something unless I win at it or I get achieve success. So for a woman to share her needs and say, well, this is what's in it for you, we might have less arguments, or I won't snap at you when you wake me up in the morning, or, you know, it's that tiny little thing that can make the biggest difference in your relationship. I can't stress that enough. Yeah.
One more that I could jump in with is, if you with the kids, I can get the day, you know, finished off sooner. I can start feeling like a woman again. And that translates into so many different things for men. Not only is it of a physical nature, physical intimacy, but it's also emotional intimacy that they can have. So she's not always in mom mode, or dad is always in dad mode. They're able to unwind and actually be a couple and invest in the relationship in such a way so that it builds and energizes instead of depletes and diminishes and
yeah, absolutely. And it increases the intimacy, you know, if you can separate your roles from a partnership and parents as well. So very, very good example, that just to make sure that you're still having those moments for yourselves, for your relationship to, you know, to be intimate and to grow together. The other thing that is, and this goes both ways. This is where I briefly mentioned earlier, it's about when you understand somebody's needs, you understand how you're better able to support them to make them happy, because that's really all we want to do for each other, is to make each other happy. However, the other part of this question is there anything you need from me for you to be able to give me what I need? So if it's a new thing, it could be a little prompt, or it could be over the next few weeks, if you don't ask or you don't offer the support in the right way, you have to welcome feedback as well, because as I said earlier, I have seen relationships completely deteriorate, and I've been in a relationship where at the end of the relationship I was told, I've done everything, I don't know how to support you. And in my head I was going, you could have asked the question. But I also could have explained it to him better as well. So, but in my head, when it got to that point where he said, I've done everything, I'm going, the one thing you didn't ask was ask me a question. What do you need? Yeah. But it's also a wake-up call for me, for learning from that relationship. Is like, I actually need to take the step forward and say, this is what I need in this situation. This is the best way for you to support me in this situation. This is the best way to support me. So always ask for prompts. You know, how can I help you? Is there a good way you want me to explain it to? And since we're talking about the children getting involved, this is really important for them, because they will not hold back in giving you the truth. Yeah. You're really grumpy, mummy, you need to go to bed earlier, you know, or dad, you said you would take us to this and you haven't done it yet, you know. So just really be clear how you want that support, and that's the way you'll be able to receive it. I know I've been talking a lot, and I just wanted to, and I can't believe I knew it was going to take a long time, but I just hope that I haven't really been focusing on the chat, but you've been chatting and agreeing with me, and just really saying, yep, that resonates. Yes, that resonates. Yep. Oh gosh, this is making so much sense. And please keep going, because that's really important for us to make sure that what we are going to achieve is actually going to get the message out there. So before, unless there's anything else, Reham, before I hand back to Reham, just want to wrap up. Our needs are so important so that we have the energy we need to not only survive, but also to be able to offer it and be generous and support of other people. So discover what your needs are, define them really, really clearly, and then sit and discuss what support you need and how that support can be met. And then just give it a go and just see what happens. And it might be a little uncomfortable if there's some new things going there, but don't make it black and white. Just give each other time to adjust to the, supporting each other. And just remember, which, how Rehab beautifully said it, it creates that secret language. Yeah. You just need to come in and you put down your bag in a specific way, and your partner's got the kettle on. Yeah, it's not, you don't need to speak, you don't need to, you just do something, they go, uh-oh, I know what I need to do to support them, or I need to ask them, what can I do for you? And it's no longer nothing, I'm okay. It's no longer, oh my goodness, you can't believe what day I've had, I need a cup of tea. Off you go. I just need to be on my own for a while. Not a problem. I need to go out and run it off. Go on, get out there, because when they come back from that run, or they've had a few minutes on their own or a cup of tea, they're going to be the person that you want to spend a lot of your time with, like a lot of your life with, because they are showing up who they are, and you create that genuine relationship.
It's about being brave and courageous about vulnerability. And just like you were saying, it's about that life partner. Being vulnerable is a strength. It's a way of us creating that connectivity with our partner, creating that recognition of, I see you, I see your needs, I see your wants, and I'm here to support you in getting them, either yourself or with my assistance. But it's a beautiful dance that happens between two people. And when you do it right, it's a tango. And when it's not, it's a work in progress. So it's about learning to do the work in progress together, and really, being okay with being vulnerable. And I know on this channel, we talk about vulnerability a lot, and we've had a lot of discussions around vulnerability. So if you're ever needing to hear a little bit more about what that's like, check out our channel. We've got a couple of topics on vulnerability and deep, deep discussions with other men on their definition of vulnerability and how it's impacted them. Louise, it's always a pleasure having you on this show for our Zoom calls. And one of the things that I really want to stress is, if any of this, to our audience and participants, if any of this resonated with you, as you've shown us it has, and you find that this is something that you'd like to get a deeper dive or a closer look at, any of these points, including needs, don't hesitate to pay attention to what we're going to be posting up in the upcoming weeks, leading up to the end of September. So, we have this amazing program that we're going to be launching, and it's a shared effort between Louise and I, and it's about transforming your relationships and the 5 secrets behind them. So it's the 5 secrets to transforming your relationships, 5 days, 1 secret a day to enhance your relationships and to revitalize your connectivity to your partner and to yourself. Any last minute thoughts, advice, guidance, or ideas that you'd like to share, Louise, before we wrap up?
No, I think that's it. I just want to say thank you for everyone for being patient with me while I sort of I wanted to give so much to this evening, because we don't talk about these things enough. So it's really important to get the conversation going about it, so that we all feel really fully supported, not only or especially at this time, but not only at this time, just for the rest of our lives, with somebody you want to be with.
And the impact that it has on our families is immeasurable. So it doesn't have to be intimate partners. It could be your family members, peers, it could be your friends, your colleagues. It's all about how you're articulating what your wants are and what your needs are and understanding what they are, and then learning to discuss them and communicate them openly. So thank you, Louise, for sharing that wonderful wealth of knowledge to our viewers and our audience members, and for taking their questions and responding to them. Um, Before I go, as always, join us on our next episode of the Genuine Men's Chat Show podcast and Zoom Live. Remember, our Genuine Men's Chat Show is released every first Friday of every month, and our Zoom Lives are monthly now, third Thursday at 8 p.m. UK Standard Time, UK European Time. Share, like, and follow the Genuine Men's Chat uh, links, posts, and material on YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Don't forget to join us on our Facebook group for Genuine Men and Genuine Women to continue this discussion. And remember, our motto in 2020 is many men, many conversations. Have you taken your seat at the table yet? See you next time.